Alexander Chisholm Guibault's life today feels like a dream. His first childhood memory in Guatemala is like a nightmare.
Somebody kicking me on the stomach, and I got up quickly, and I started to look around, and I don't know what was happening. I started to look around, and there was 11 other kids.
He was 7. His birth parents had sold him to a stranger for $2,000.
I noticed that there was a rope. I was tied to a wooden post. The post was in the middle, and there was a rope on my left leg, and I wasn't sure of what was happening. And during this time that I was in the basement, there was an adult. There was 3 of them, and or more, but there was 3 that they were kind of like taking care of us, and he numbered us, and that was going to be our name, and I was number 6. And when I said number 6, that was the number that they were going to be used when our organs was going to be removed.
He escaped and survived on the streets of Guatemala. 2 years later, a police officer put him in an orphanage. He didn't know his name, so they called him Jesus.
I went on my desk, and my little friend who gave me this book, I put the 2 books in front of him. And I said, this is the Bible, and this is the book of Alexander the Great. I thought, seriously, I am not a Jesus. I don't look like a Jesus. I don't want to be like a Jesus. I am Alexander. And maybe not the great part, I thought, but I do want to be Alexander. I like that he was very positive. I like that he was a fighter. I like that he was a king, and he never gave up. And for me, it became a little bit like a symbol, something that I can believe of.
The orphanage threw him back on the streets when he was a teen. 7 times he tried to kill himself. The week after his last attempt, he got a job translating for a visiting Canadian. He told her his story.
My mom was the first person that started to cry for me. And it got me so emotional because she was the first person that cried for me. I remember that at the very end, after 20 minutes that I talked, she came and hugged me. And I felt that hug, and I thought, this is the way that a mom will cry, will hug you if something happened to a kid.
The woman was a stranger, but she saw a bond in the young man's haunted eyes. Back in Canada, she and her husband decided to adopt the 19-year-old.
And the first time I saw this photo, his sponsor Tony had given it to me, and he had told me that it was in a Christmas card with a thank you letter. So when I showed the photo to Alex, because a lot of kids who get their pictures taken in orphanages, they never see the photo again. You know, the photo goes home with the person that took it. So when I showed him the picture, Alex told me that he remembered that day because his dorm parents had held him down and they beat him and they had shaved his head. And then they made him stand up. They told him that they were going to take his picture and that was going to be for his sponsor. And they told him that he better look grateful. He better smile and he better look grateful. So when I see that photo, I know how much Alex loves his hair, and when I see it shaved like that and I see blood on his nose and a little crooked smile, it breaks my heart right there. Because that's my little boy in an orphanage and what the realities were. And then on the other picture, I see Alex more recently wearing an Our Guatemala Travel with Purpose, Be the Change t-shirt, and he's happy and he's healthy. His hair is gorgeous and he has purpose and he has a family and he has opportunities and he's healing. He's healing beautifully. So they're the same person, but they're 2 different people. That's what I see. My son.
I think in 2015, I came for the very first time to Canada. And one of the things that I first noticed was the cold. It was a bit cold, and I was like, oh, this is another world. Everybody's nice to me here. The first place that I kind of felt like it was a home.
Alex has applied for Canadian citizenship. He returns to Guatemala regularly to help kids like him, bringing beds, buying food, and funding scholarships.
I know the need. I see the need. I grew up with the need. And it makes me feel happy if I go back and try to help them. Obviously, changing the world is a big of responsibility, but if we do it one step at a time, eventually we'll get there.
John Tatry, CBC News, on Lake Mush-a-Mush.